Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is verb phrase 248. Verb phrase today is to rack one's brain. Okay, let's take a look at the note here. If one racks one's brain, it means that someone is trying very hard to think of something or remember something. Let's continue. The origin of the verb phrase derives from the medieval torture instrument of a rack. This is the one in which one's body was stretched out on a surface and one's arms and legs were pulled with chains as a form of torture. Yeah, if you ever seen the old movies that took place during medieval times, sometimes this was a way to torture somebody. They'd lay somebody like on a flat slab surface, and then they'd be pulling their arms and legs where it was very painful. To either get somebody to confess or just simply to torture them. So this is where the idea of the rack comes from, because some people always used to, even myself, I always used to wonder, why do we say rack one's brain? Where'd the rack come from? All right, so it comes from this idea of this torture instrument. So let's continue. Okay, good. So thus, if one racks one's brain, it alludes to the idea of stretching one's brain, which it causes extreme discomfort in order to remember something. So that's the idea. It's almost like your brain is on the rack and you're trying to stretch it out so you could try to remember. So that's where it comes from. Okay. Older variants of this phrase were to rack one's wit, or rack one's memory, but they have fallen out of use. But if you went back in time, you might find where they use it to rack one's wit or to rack one's memory, but we don't use it anymore today. All right, let's continue. Shakespeare had a use of rack in this sense in his play The Twelfth Night in 1602. Here is the quote. How have the hours, of course you see hours was spelled different back then, how have the hours racked and tortured me since I have lost thee? Remember, thee means you. So again, remember he was much closer to the time when they used the rack, so that was still very much in their memory. So it was a way of torture. So he was saying that, kind of tortured himself in this sense. All right, let's continue. One of the earliest known citations of rack one's brain was first written by William Beveridge Sermons, in the late 1600s. They racked their brains. All right, basically that's how it was used. All right, and here we just have three examples to show how we use this today. I've been racking my brain, but I just cannot remember where I put it. Yeah, that's what typically the way somebody might use it. Or number two here, I racked my brain, but I just cannot remember her name. Maybe you're trying to remember who somebody was or what their name was. All right, and number three here, try to rack your brain, like somebody might tell you to do it, kind of as a command. Try to rack your brain. If we cannot remember that password and get into our account, we are in big trouble. Yeah, a lot of people forget their password, so maybe you try to rack your brain figuring out, what did I write down again? Didn't I put it somewhere? Maybe you lost the piece of paper you put it on, but you're trying to rack your brain to remember. Okay, and just one little last note here. Some dictionaries may accept rack with a W-R-A-C-K to rack one's brain as an alternative spelling. Okay, anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it's clear. I hope it was very informative. Again, if you like these, all these phrases and their origins to help you remember better, I'd appreciate if you give me a like and subscribe. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.